Good morning, everybody. I hope this is working. Just wondering how you're all doing this morning. Hope you had a good sleep and hoping you feel better than you did maybe yesterday. A few of you have said you've had melting moments, as I call them. Good morning from sunny Geneva today. I hoped you enjoyed the meditation last night. It's my aim to do a FaceTime live in the morning to support us all, and then I'll do a meditation in the evening. I was aiming for 15 or 20 minutes meditation last night, but I think it was about 4. But anyway, que sera, sera. So good morning to you all. So the reason I'm doing these, just in case you missed yesterday's FaceTime live, it's just to keep everybody positive because, you know, we all struggle at times and whew, gosh, we're in a really unknown time now, aren't we? So good morning to all of you. I'm not going to be able to tap the screen and wave to all of you. So here's a good morning wave from me. So I wanted to start the day with this thought, and then obviously you can take away whatever you like from there. So this is an extract from the book called The Voice of Silence by Una Shalney-Tafolo. Many of you know it's one of my favourite quotes. I think I've quoted it in nearly every book that I've written. A strong woman works out every day to keep her body in shape, but a woman of strength builds relationships to keep her soul in shape. A strong woman isn't afraid of anything, but a woman of strength shows courage in the midst of fear. A strong woman won't let anyone get the better of her, but the woman of strength gives the best of herself to everyone. A strong woman makes mistakes and avoids the same in the future. A woman of strength realizes life's mistakes can also be unexpected blessings and capitalizes on them. A strong woman wears a look of confidence on her face, but a woman of strength wears grace. A strong woman has faith that she's strong enough for the journey, but the woman of strength has faith that it's in the journey that she will become strong. And I just love that one. The book, if you want to get it, is absolutely superb. It's really one of my favourites. Very, very simple story, very touching. But, you know, isn't it true that we need to find courage? And at the moment we do need to find courage. And I know a few of you have said you're struggling homeschooling the kids and different things. So let's focus on the good stuff, because we do know that, you know, our thoughts, this quote from Gandhi is really quite amazing. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So like I said yesterday, you know, if we do start the day, different day, same old shit, guess what we're going to get? It's not rocket science. So let's start the day on a positive note. So one of you mentioned, or a few of you mentioned yesterday, about affirmations. So many of you know that I recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome many years ago. I was ill for almost a year, and it was really hard. You know, I was managing the kids on my own, and thank goodness for mum and dad and everything. But, you know, when you're a mother, you expect perfection as a mother. You want yourself to be perfect. And we're not a perfect mother, none of us are. And certainly having chronic fatigue, when you don't have the energy to, you know, kind of do the shopping or do the cooking or the cleaning, or you have to make a choice between doing the washing or the cleaning or something like that, it can be very challenging. And when you feel that you're not a good mother because you're so ill and you're so worn out, you know, it was a very challenging time. For me at the time, I just read every positive mental attitude, a spiritual book, quantum physics book, law of attraction book, anything and everything I could get my hands on. And my Reiki master, the lady that taught me Reiki, was just so amazing. What an honour to have known Diane Mather. I know a lot of you who are watching knew Diane. She was a genuine goddess and a genuine earth angel on this planet. And she rang me most days, you know, saying, pull yourself together. And I needed that kick up the arse because, you know, I think we all slip into victimhood at times. So I was learning about the power of affirmations, the power about, what we say is what we create, the power of law of attraction. So I'd put weight on because I couldn't get around, and what I did, I decided that I will take the bull by the horns. Many of you know me, and I'm a kind of take the bull by the horns girl. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And what I did, I decided that I would think of a mantra for myself, and I'd put weight on, so I wasn't healthy. So you have to be aware. I mean, obviously I'm a qualified hypnotherapist, psychotherapist now, and I did introduce myself to a client once as a psychopath instead of a psychotherapist, which was quite funny. She did laugh, which is a good thing, but anyway, thank goodness I only did it once. But the power of the mind is quite an amazing thing. So it's like an iceberg. You've got about 30% at the top of the water and about 70% underneath. So we're driven by the subconscious mind all the time. And the subconscious mind is far more powerful than we think, especially as a hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, doing past life regression and understanding about DNA and things like that. So, I'm not going to contradict what you believe in if you don't believe in past lives and things like that. But certainly I know a lot of you watching have experienced hypnotherapy, psychotherapy when you've gone into past lives. And we can have lives, where we're frightened of being successful. If you look at the Marianne Williamson quote, we're frightened of hiding our light because it makes people feel insecure. It kind of, maybe lessens their self-esteem and everything else. But if we all played ourselves down, and I'm not talking about, arrogance and overconfidence and all that nonsense, I'm talking about being genuine. How many of us can be really genuine? How many of us can be really vulnerable? For me, I wore the mask for far too long, bringing up 4 kids on my own. The boys were much bigger than me, from being about 14. So they were all martial arts trained. They could do a move and have me on the floor within 30 seconds, And you have to be tough. You're making the decisions, you're doing the house, you're sorting the car out. It was a tough time. But, through Diane mainly and reading the Positive Mental Attitude books, I came through. So every day I used to have a mantra. I am slim, fit and healthy, because it covered everything. I'd put weight on, like I said, so slim, fit and healthy. Now, healthy can mean something to one person and something different to another. But what I do mean with slim, fit and healthy is that the health is about mental, spiritual, physical and emotional. It's about body, mind and soul. So when we look at our health as much as we can, then when we look at the body, mind and soul, it's a good thing to really sit quietly sometimes. Just put your hands on your heart and just tune into the body and just ask, is my body balanced? Is it tired? Is it exhausted? I ran on adrenaline for years, getting up at kind of 5:30, 6 o'clock, starting work at 7, getting the kids organised, doing the shopping, washing, cooking, ironing, cleaning. And it wasn't a life, it was an existence. And how many of us are really, really living? How many of us are existing? So think about your body. Most of us are in the head, or many of us are in the head, or when the fear bites in, that's where we go into the head. We come out of the body and we go into the head and the fear and the ego mind. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? What if that? Should have done that? Shouldn't have done that? And the regrets play out and the doubts. And, when we look at emotions all have a weight. So when we look at emotions like love, joy, bliss, happiness, if we were to put them on a weighing scale, say you had, a weighing scale, one on the left, one on the right, if you were going to put positive emotions in there, love, joy, bliss, happiness, anything like that, they're going to be very light in weight, probably light in colour, but light in weight. When we look at emotions such as depression, doubt, guilt, fear, shame, anger, they're very heavy. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to honour our feelings, for goodness sake. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to have an awareness. So when you kind of look at the Buddhist teachings or any of the positive mental attitude books, or many of them anyway, they will say it's about taking control of the mind, which is no easy task. That's why there's only a few enlightened masters on the planet. So when we talk about enlightenment means that we've cleaned up the chakras. That's all it means. So when the chakras are getting full of the emotional kind of stuff, the doubt, the guilt, the fear, the shame, the lack of self-love, lack of self-esteem, whatever it is, we need to go on a journey to clean them out. And we clean them out through meditation, walking in nature, surrender. At the moment, we're all going to have to surrender because we've no choice. We don't know how long we're going to be in quarantine for, or self-isolation, or, some of you might not know what jobs you're going back to. The world is going to change. But all we do know, and what we can control, is ourselves. And that is a choice. And that is a conscious choice, even though we think that we don't have a conscious choice. I assure you that we do. So like I said yesterday, when the ego mind gets the better of us, what do you do if your car's going too fast? You press the brake. When a child is being naughty or hard work or chucking a tantrum or wobbly, as I call it, we just say, oi, that's enough, And we have to do the same with the mind. Now, there's different schools of thought. Some people say that, we can say, right, okay, ego mind, all the fear, doubt, guilt, and worry, I'm going to give you 1 hour a day, maybe between, 10 in the morning and 11, but that's it. So that's your time to really make me feel, properly grotty or grumpy or whatever. It's a choice. But after that time, that's it. So that's an option for any of you struggling with the ego mind, as I know a few of you are at the moment. And like I said, don't for 1 minute think that I don't struggle with the ego mind, because of course I do. I'm human. There was a beautiful interview with Oprah with, forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Thich Nhat Hanh, the great spiritual teacher. If you've ever read any of his books, he's quite an amazing guy. I'm sure you can find the video YouTube link. I know Tony Johnson is watching, and I know Tony is an avid reader of Thich Nhat Hanh. I think it's how it's pronounced, but maybe, Tony, if you could put something on my Facebook wall or tag me in something after, or find the YouTube clip for me, that would be amazing. So, there's a lot you can do when you're in fear. Now, what happens is when we're actually in fear, many of you know about cellular memory. So I study biology, but I have no idea how many billions or trillions of cells the body has, but every one of those cells has DNA in it, and every one of those cells has a memory. So whether you believe in this or not is, you have freedom of choice, for goodness sake. But every one of your cells has cellular memory. So many of you, when we meet a stranger and we think, I like that person, or a few of you might meet someone you think, oh, I really don't. I mean, I am lucky enough that with the work that I've done personally on myself, I can meet someone and I know them from another life, and often your vibration attracts your tribe. It's as simple as that. So, when I went to Bali and I met Bapa Manku, I knew as soon as I heard his name that I knew him. I felt it in here. Often we feel it in here. Not always, but we usually do feel it in here. And the more we come from the head to the heart, then, you begin to feel more. So with many of you, that are currently watching this, I know that we've had past lives. I'm not going to bang on about past lives. What I'm just saying is that we have cellular memory, and we need to listen to that. So if we meet somebody we feel comfortable with them, then that's wonderful. If we meet someone and we don't feel comfortable with them, then we need to just step back and just approach with caution. That's what I would say. We will never get on with everybody because it's not normal. But the first thing that we do need to realise is the one person we do need to get on with is ourselves. Hand on heart, we need to get on with ourselves. So, at this moment in time, the great unknown, the energy of the Jaguar is around, which the Jaguar is about the great unknown. We need to think about what we do want. And every day we come back into the fear, every day we can watch the news about coronavirus, every day we can go and get a newspaper and fill ourselves with fear. Because everything is love or fear. Go back to the weighing scales. So if you think about energies and emotions, and many of you know that emotion, when we look at it, E equals energy. You've heard of Einstein, E equals mc squared. So when we look at energy in motion, the chakras are moving all the time. So if you put fear in there, fear is much heavier than an energy such as love, joy, bliss, happiness, ecstasy. Now, let's translate that to the physical body. So if we have the chakras, and the chakras are like the funnels. So, a funnel kind of comes up and goes out like that. So the point of the funnel would be, you've got your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat, your heart, and your solar plexus, your sacral and your base. So when we look at emotions, let's look at them as weights. So many of you have a car. If you have a spinning wheel, such as a tyre, and you put a weight in it, is it going to go faster or slower? The heavier the weight, the slower it is. So I always remember many years ago, Dave Binder said to me, flexible mind, flexible body. And the more we can be flexible, the more we can be, maybe the word is accepting of ourselves, accepting of other people as well. The more we can do that, the more the chakra begins to spin. And you put a weight in it and it's going to go slower. So everything is a choice. So for today, try and find the joy in everything. I can hear the birds outside. I'm not sure what the phone's going to pick up because I have closed the windows. It's still a bit chilly here in the morning in Geneva. But just take a moment and think about how much fear there is in your life. Now, you have a choice. Do you want the fear, or would you prefer to be living a life of love, a life of appreciation? A life of love doesn't mean, for goodness sake, I'm not talking about the slushy, mushy stuff. I mean, yeah, we all like chocolates and flowers, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about genuine love and genuine appreciation. Being in a place where we can have a silence with someone, be that your partner, your children, be it yourself, where you have silence and you're comfortable in your own silence. And hands on heart, how many of us can be in a silent space? At the moment, it's nice in a way, perhaps. Many of you might be resisting, but we've been forced into a period of reflection. And many of us, we don't always take time to reflect. When I had chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's nearly 20 years ago now, but goodness me, I wouldn't change it because it was such a powerful lesson in reflection. And certainly when Sylvia did the homeopathic consultation with me, and she made me go through my life, through my childhood, through the marriage that had broken down and various relationships that had broken down, through my job and various other things. And I suddenly said to her, and I was crying, it's no wonder my body's told me to get stuffed. It's no wonder my body's told me to get lost. I've been running on adrenaline for far too long. And that was a big realization for me. And it was also an acceptance. And it was also a point where I learned that I needed to forgive myself for having run on adrenaline, for wanting to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect this, the perfect that. I don't know anybody that's perfect. But what I do know is a lot of people who are imperfect. And they're perfect because they're imperfect. And they're imperfect and they're happy with their imperfections. For me, it's taken me such a long time to accept myself. And I'm not saying for a minute that I accept myself fully. There's things that I still need to work through, and there's things I still am working through. So it might be an idea for all of you today Many of you have journals. If you don't, just get an A4 pad. I know you're still allowed to go out shopping. They're freely available in most stores like Asda or Tesco. Or go and get some printed paper for the computer. But maybe draw a circle. You all know a pie. I'm not going to go into maths. I'm not going to make it complicated. I know some of you struggle with maths. So the simple thing, draw a circle. Cut it in half. If you cut a pie in half, you've got 50% on one side, 50% on the other side. When we look at body, mind and soul, they should be equally balanced. It's very hard to find this balance, but it does not mean that we cannot find balance. Everything is possible when you believe it's possible. If you start saying, oh, I'm not going to do that, well, guess what? You're not going to get there. If you look at a bike as a child and you think, I'm never going to ride that, well, you're not. You're going to walk away and you're just going to give up. And it is so much easier for us to give up, I assure you, than it is to carry on. When I was training in Samanpan in Ubud with Bapamanku, I didn't speak the language. I was in a tiny village in the middle of nowhere. The temperatures were getting up to, 29, 30, maybe higher. So if I didn't go out walking first thing in the morning, then, you were just sweating all the time. Hardly anybody spoke English. The people that did, I didn't see them very often, and maybe it was just the people in the restaurant, and you can't sit in a restaurant all day. And having so much time on my own, and then, being on the phone, and I know I broke down about my granddaughters yesterday, so I will apologise in advance if I do the same today, because I might do. But, the fear and kind of pondering, am I meant to be here? Am I meant to do this? This is such a challenge. I am lonely in this village. And I was lonely, that's the truth, because I didn't see Bapamanku every day. Sometimes it was once every fortnight, sometimes it was once a week. And because I didn't speak the language, I had to find something to do. I couldn't just go out for a walk all day or sit under a tree because there's too many snakes. You can't sit on the grass because there isn't really grass. It's usually rice paddies. Rice paddies are full of frogs, and the frogs are eaten by the snakes, so there you go, So I had to face a lot of fears. I had to face a lot of loneliness. And it was that sheer grit and determination. And God knows how I did it, to be honest. I know my friends Tony and Phil and quite a few others of you were really, really supportive of me, saying, you need to stay with this, you need to stay with this. And I'm blessed that my boys in New Zealand kind of understood that I needed to go back and train with Bapamanku. I'm glad I did it, but it didn't come without challenge. And you have to understand that when we're challenged, it's for the greater good, mostly. How many of you out there, I can see that Deborah Campbell's watching. And for those of you that don't know, Deborah does sound healing. And it's absolutely incredible because sound healing in itself, our physical bodies are made of light, sound and energy. So I realise at the moment that many of you can't attend a sound bath, which is very sad. And I don't know if Deborah's put anything on YouTube, but maybe she could add a sound bath after this and maybe tag me in or put it on my Facebook wall, Deborah, please, because a sound bath is amazing and sound will clear the chakras. So, we all have a favourite record we want to listen to. We all know the power of music, so we do know the power of song. Many of you, I hope, know the power of chanting, something positive, the Gayatri mantra, the Mula mantra, and various different ones that you may enjoy doing. So, there was something in the Bible, everything started with word, and everything started with sound. So everything starts with a thought. If an architect is going to build a house, maybe he can visualize the house, but it starts with the original thought. Maybe he just gets a plot of land. And your thoughts will kind of make your day, really. So if you start the day with a positive thought. So when I was with the chronic fatigue syndrome and I was having a melting moment, and I assure you that was every day, and that was many, many, many times in the day. because I couldn't fully look after the children, I couldn't do the washing, shopping, cooking, ironing, cleaning. Everything was a choice. If I did one thing, I couldn't do something else. And because I was a perfectionist in stupid ways, goodness me, learning to forgive yourself is very hard. If I hurt somebody, it's certainly not intentional. But, they might say, I forgive you for whatever. But we have to forgive ourselves. And that is perhaps the hardest challenge. Now, when we translate that to the chakras, when we forgive ourselves, it releases a lot of space. So if you think about something that you've, forgiven yourself for, or felt angry with yourself for, or maybe many of you have got regrets, doubts, guilt, fear, whatever, just imagine being able to release it. So I know the meditation last night, I said when you breathe in the positive and breathe out anything that you don't need, So, I will do another meditation tonight, and I'll just go with my intuition as to what I run the meditation with. But when you're feeling crap, as we all do, just take a breath, go back to your breath. Everything starts and finishes with the breath. And we all know that we can't live without oxygen, we can't live without breathing. So, just be aware of your breath. Be aware of those feelings that your body is showing you. Come out of the head. And if you can allow yourself a day of positive thinking to feel the change. And when you feel that you can't, get hold of the positive, or when you're feeling frustrated, I know many of you are taking this time to declutter the house, or maybe, take the curtains down that need washing, or clean the windows, or tidy the garden, or whatever. Just be mindful while you're doing it. Is your ego mind taking over? Are you thinking positive thoughts? Are you looking at the garden and visualising what it's going to be like finished? And why don't you visualise yourself allowing yourself freedom to be, freedom to allow yourself to be the best that you can be? I wonder what that would feel like. It's interesting, obviously none of us are surprised that nature's just carrying on at the moment. The trees are beautiful. The magnolia trees are absolutely one of my favourites. And they're in flower at the moment, The birds still sing in the morning. They're not going to stop singing. But what do? We get a little bit of a challenge. Maybe this is a big challenge, but we sink. We bite into the fear. I call it drama karma sometimes. And we look at everything with the doom and gloom. Maybe it's a British thing. I know there's a few of you on here from Bali and different places, and Australia as well, and different cultures. And I'm not saying the British way is rubbish. I'm not saying that at all. I'm making a generalisation. But do we need the doom and gloom? Do we need to whinge about everything? Why can't we just find the good in everybody? Why can't we just find the good in ourselves? Why can't you just find the good in yourself? So, for today, I would like you to start a journal if you can, if you want to. This is all a choice. And just get the pie chart. Cut the pie in half, 50-50%. Cut it into thirds, body, mind and soul, and be honest with yourself. Because the only person that we lie to so often is ourselves. And just look at the percentages. So, if you split 100%, which is the full proportion of the pie, into thirds, then you've got 33.33333% in each third. Now it might be that your mind is more balanced. It might be your body's more balanced. How many people do you know who go down to the gym and, they've got the beautiful biceps and all the other stuff? And yet their mind's in shreds, so they're only going down to the gym to alleviate lack of self-confidence or self-esteem. And how many people feed the soul? So if you're a dancer, you need to dance. If you're a singer, you need to sing. If you're a poet, write poetry. And how many of us get stuck in the masks of life, or just stuck in the drudgery? Work, sleep, home, housework, blah, 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 blah. But just take a moment take this time that we've been given, because time is your greatest asset, and take this time to just be. Take this time to allow yourself to be the best that you can be. So have a look at your pie chart, dividing into 3, body, mind and soul. And then think of ways that you can help yourself. If your body's not balanced, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're not fit, there's loads of YouTube videos out there now. My friend Jo Eastham and my friend Alison, they're doing live yoga feeds as far as I know. So think of ways that you can be more healthy in the body. We talked about alkalizing diet yesterday and acidic diet. So think about eating more healthy. How can you get more balance? Body, mind and soul. How can you get more balance with your mind? Well, the obvious one is meditation. Affirmations. So the general rule with affirmations is that we have the power of 3. Obviously we have the Holy Trinity, but we have the me, myself and I. We have the power of using 3 words. So for me it was, at the time, with the chronic fatigue syndrome, slim, fit and healthy. A few years ago it changed to love, freedom and peace. You could have I am healthy, wise and wonderful. I am healthy, wealthy and wise. Just use 3 words. That's my advice, but it's up to you if you want to take the advice. And it may well change. None of us learnt to tie shoelaces overnight. None of us learnt to walk from being born straight away. None of us learnt to ride a bike straight away. For those of us that drive a car, you don't learn that straight away either. It takes determination, commitment, determination, commitment, and it takes courage. So sometimes we only learn by getting it wrong, and there's nothing wrong with what we perceive as failures. But unfortunately in the Western culture, we tend to think that if we've failed, then we kind of give up. And that's not always a good thing. We need to keep going. So think about ways that you can still the ego mind when it's kind of, doing the monkey business. Going jabba, 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 you're not good enough, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing the washing, shopping, cooking and cleaning. That cobweb needs to be cleaned, that little corner, you need to dust it more and that kind of thing. So think about how you can still the mind. Meditation, listening to a sound bath, that will help you. Now there's different frequencies out there. Many of you know that different sound frequencies will affect the body. So frequency 432 Hertz, Hertz, will help calm the mind. Frequency 528 Hertz. If anybody wants to tag me into a post and put something on about sound frequencies, if you want to do some research in YouTube, always listen with your own wisdom and discernment. Not everything that's on YouTube is true. Come on, we know that not everything we're being fed in the news at the moment is right. Start using your own wisdom. Start using your own intuition. Learn to trust yourself. And if you're not sure, just, make a mental note. Keep coming back to it. And allow yourself to learn to trust yourself more. So, for the body, we can balance the body by doing more exercise, doing more stretches, doing more walks. You can do yoga, tai chi, you can do whatever you want. Dancing is great. I'm sure there's some online courses for dancing. Think about your mind. So that would be meditation. And listen to your favourite music. Put your favourite film on or use your affirmation. And I know when I was at the melting points with the chronic fatigue syndrome, Diane helped me because she was just a diamond on the phone every day. Come on, you can do this, you can do this, you're going to come through it, you're going to come through it. And we all need someone at the end of the day sometimes offering that helping hand, Like I say, my friends Phil and Tony and many others of you, when I was in Bali, were offering me that helping hand and saying, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Because Baba Manku never pushed me to do anything. And he made it clear, if you want to go back to England or to Australia or New Zealand or wherever you want to go, you're free to go. And it was a challenge. So think about the things that you have achieved. You know, many of us have maybe educational qualifications, and that has its purpose. Don't get me wrong, it's great if we can all learn to read and write. But what else have you achieved? Have you brought up children? Have you decorated a room? Have you painted a picture? You know, have you renovated a house? Have you tidied the garden? What is it that you really value? Did you offer someone a random act of kindness? Did you offer someone a listening ear? Now, that doesn't mean we need to think that we're martyrs. It doesn't mean that we need to play the rescuer. You know, I used to do that far too long. I played the rescuer. That was quite a journey of harsh learnings. It means doing it in balance. On Saturday, I had a walk down into Geneva, and there's a few people around. It was a beautiful sunny day, obviously taking precautions, walking 2 meters away, blah, blah, blah. And there was a chap on a bench, and he just looked really, really distressed. He had a very expensive mountain bike. My son Nick, you know, he likes to ride on mountain bikes, and he had all the gear on. He didn't look like a hobo or a scruffy guy in any way, shape or form, but he was obviously distressed. And as people walked past, he just kept saying, "Excusez-moi, excuse me, please." And nobody was answering him, and I could see that he was getting really quite upset. So I approached him against protocol. I was nearer than 2 meters, and I said, "Parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I speak English." I said, "What can I do for you? What's the matter?" Now, as a healer, you know, I carry that anyway in my auric field. And he said, "Mary, everybody's ignoring me." He said, "Can I please use your phone?" He said, "I've got lots of time on my hands. I've been out on the bike and I've done too much. And I'm trying to do too much all at once." I said, That's okay. So I just set the intention of calm around the guy, and he seemed to calm down fairly quickly. I gave him my phone. I said, "Look, just do what you want." I said, "I've got a picnic with me," because some people are diabetic. My granddad was diabetic. I didn't know if he was perhaps diabetic, which was why he was a little bit agitated. I said, "Look, you know, I've got a picnic with me. Do you want something to eat? I have an apple in my bag. I have a bottle of water." You know, it was quite hot. He'd been on the bike. And he said, No, I'm okay. I've got everything I need." So he rang his wife or his girlfriend, whatever, and he calmed down. I said, "Look, how long will she be before she's here?" Because I have no idea who this guy was. I never even asked his name. I didn't know if she was going to be half an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And he said, No, she won't be long. So the beauty of being able to see energy fields is I could see that rather than being kind of, you know, quite jagged, and because he was quite upset, it had calmed down. And it was obvious in his body language and his tonality, everything about him just seemed to calm. So I said, "Loon, you know, how do you feel now?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay." He said, "I'm happy to wait for us." So I knew I was okay to just walk on and just carry on walking by the lakeside. So, you know, what should I have done? What could I have done? Does it matter? You know, what would you have done? The amount of people, I watch those people ignore it. And I'm not saying that I'm a saint, for goodness sake. I'm just saying I used a little bit of common sense. That's all I'm saying, a little bit of common sense. So, you know, how many acts of random kindness can we do? I mean, obviously at the moment I realise that most of us are housebound. But how many acts of random kindness can we do? Can we just give someone a hug? Many of you have husbands, wives, partners, children. When did you last tell them that you love them? One of the beautiful things of being able to speak to my granddaughters and my family while I've been away, you know, we always end the conversation, "I really love you." So I'm going to say to all of you, I know most of you anyway, but I love you, you know, on some level. I see the good in you. Every one of you have your faults. I have mine, I assure you. Some of you know exactly what they are. I can procrastinate, just like you guys. I have wobbles, just like you guys. And, you know, how does it feel when somebody says to you, "I love you"? I love you for who you are, because that's how I mean it. I love you for the good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful. You know? I love you for everything that you are. I love you for the crazy aspect of yourself. My friend Tony is one of my best friends. I know many of you know Tony Johnson, and I'm going to sing your praises, Tony. So if you sat there blushing at home in Congleton, tough. You know, I have cried on the phone to Tony. He's held my space to me. I have laughed on the phone with Tony. He's held my space for me. And Tony and I have a wonderful sense of humour together and a wonderful friendship that is unconditional. I love him regardless of whatever mood he's in, and he loves me regardless of whatever mood I'm in. And how many times, you know, can we say that genuinely about ourselves? That we love ourselves if we're in a grumpy mood, a bad mood, a good mood, or anything else. Think about how you can spread love in your community, in your home. Tell your children that you love them. Tell each other you love them. Get on the phone, get on WhatsApp, send a message. But start to become aware of what you actually mean by that word love, because it's a really powerful word. Does it mean I love you because you have a nice bum? Or if we go out on a Friday night, you know, you always dress up nice. Do I love you because you've got money in the bank? Do I love you because you're fat, thin, tall, bald, good looking, whatever? Or do I love you just because I love you? You know? And we need to spread some love into this world. We need to put some love back into Mother Earth. We've abused this planet for far too long. And I've always been connected to Mother Earth. Many of you know I've always done earth healing. It's always come naturally. You know, working with the energies in Bali with Bapa Manku, the energies of the mountains, of the ocean, of the rivers. You know, working with the energies of the trees. The Balinese recognise the need for Mother Nature. They recognise the respect for Mother Nature. You know, all of us, when we do go shopping now, we have to spend you know, time 2 meters away from each other, so it's going to take longer. You know, we need to value the food that we have. We need to value the farmers, and we've disrespected farmers for so long, you know. We've disrespected people that work the land. When I was in Bali, I watched people plough the rice, and I watched them harvest the rice, and these people were exhausted. They did it manually. And I swear I will never waste rice again. Think of all the things that you've taken for granted. Think of the times you've been taken for granted, and think of how shit it makes you feel. Because when we appreciate someone, when we can say thank you, and I don't mean, you know, thank you in the BS way, I mean thank you in the genuine way. Think about how that makes you feel when somebody says thank you to you in a genuine way. I asked you yesterday, many of you, to let me know what you felt about, you know, me doing the FaceTime live. I asked many of you how I can help you. I asked you genuinely, how can I help you? Because it's not about me, it's about you. It's about all of us. It's about a community. That's what we need to set up here, a community. We're all here for one another, you know. And time is your greatest asset, and now we all have time. We all have more time for each other. So how you choose to use your time today is fine. If you want to watch the news and let the ego mind drive you crazy all day, then that's up to you. But let's go back to balance. Let's go back to basics. And that's what you have to do. If you fall off the bike, you get back on and you try again. You know, every kind of a slimming world and everything else will tell you, if you have a bad day and you're craving carbs or whatever, the following day you just get back on the horse and you try again. And what is it that you can do today to challenge yourself? You know? Is there a book you wanted to read? Is there a book you wanted to write? Is there some music you wanted to listen to? Can you give yourself permission to find some peace? You know? Is there a film you always wanted to watch? Most of you know one of my favourite films, if you haven't seen it, is Overboard. I loved the original one with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. And there's a new one that's come out, and it's wonderful. And I love it from start to finish. And I just howl, and I know it word for word. But you know what? It just makes me feel better. So we have to recognise those times when we start to dip, when we start to drop. And we have to think about how we can make ourselves feel better. So many of you, you know, are beautiful artists. Maybe you've never tried to paint a picture. Maybe now is the time to do that. You know, a very, very dear friend of mine, Dickon, he is a wonderful, wonderful photographer. I'm sure a few of you on here know Dickon, and I'm sure a few of you have seen the quality of the photographs that he does. And likewise, Frank, he is quite a phenomenal photographer. You know, why don't you just take time to think about what it is that you want to do? As I said before, many of us hide behind the masks, and that's a choice in itself. You know, we don't realise that we're conditioned. We've got these limited belief systems, maybe religious beliefs, political beliefs, society's beliefs, cultural beliefs. I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I've got too many wrinkles. I dread to think how many grey hairs are going to come through this. You know, if I can't go and get my hair dyed again. I'm joking, I really, you know, I'm past caring. But seriously, you know, the only thing we can ever be sure of is death and change. You know, I've got more wrinkles now than I had when I was 20. But I'm happier now in myself, and I'm still a work in progress than I've ever been. That's genuine, you know. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me a long time to appreciate my own weird and wonderful, wacky sense of humour. I know there's been funny videos going around, and many of you have been sending me funny videos. You know, what makes you laugh? Go back to balance, body, mind and soul. When we're laughing, the mind isn't giving us the could have, should have, would have, the regrets, and we get stuck in our story. Oh, my ex-husband cheated on me, or this happened, or that happened, or I had a car crash and I couldn't walk, and this, that and the other. You know, you can use everything as a learning. The chronic fatigue syndrome, I won't change it for anything, because it was my learning curve. It was my pivotal point to move forward. When I sold the house and let go of all my belongings last year, I was on the journey of the unknown. I wouldn't change it for anything. I had so many wobbles being in that village in Semonpan on my own, facing myself, you know, reflecting, and every single day, and it was a long day, I can assure you, waking up. Sometimes the only people I spoke to were the staff that brought me breakfast, you know, or the restaurateur. It's not that the Balinese are not the most welcoming people on the planet, because they are. They're absolutely amazing people, you know. But loneliness, when you're used to being around friends, when you're used to being around family, it can be hard. Many of you might live on your own now. Maybe many of you are facing loneliness. And it sucks. Hand on heart, it absolutely sucks. So in the morning, I had to construct a timetable. I used to listen to the Mula mantra, and then every day I would write down in the journal things that I appreciated. I would look back through photographs. I might ring a friend. I would do some Tai Chi to keep the body fit, because it's always about being aware, body, mind and soul. So now you have an idea of what you can do to help keep the body fit. You have an idea, hopefully, of what you can do to keep the mind fit. So let's look at the soul. A friend of mine said years ago, you know, I don't have a soul. And I said, yes, you do. Everybody has a soul. And the soul is the part of us that kind of can feel completely elated, can feel completely ecstatic. Just excuse me a second. The soul is a part of us that knows everything. But the body's got cellular memory anyway. And the mind is the subconscious, the superconscious and the conscious aspect. So the mind is all of them as well. So really they're not separate. So we need to find the balance between body, mind and soul to feed the whole, so that you can become more of a whole person, you can become more wholehearted. So think about things that feed the soul. We've mentioned things like photography. Some of you like to cook. Some of you like to dance. Some of you like to write poetry. You know, I've written 5 books now. I'm on with the 6th. I've got another 2 on the bubble, which will have to go on the side burner for now. You know, I've published 4. I've enjoyed writing them. Has it been easy? No. It's been an incredibly determined task. Incredibly dedicated, you know. And it takes courage. Everything takes courage. So it would be good if you go away with your journals. Like I say, draw your pie chart, cut it into three equal parts. And in each one, be honest with yourself. Are you actually balanced? Body, mind and soul. What's your percentage? You might find it's only 10% for each. This is not a competition. This is just being honest with yourself. How balanced are you? Body, mind and soul. How much do you honour yourself? How much do you honour your family? How much do you honour your parents, your grandparents? How much did you understand about them? How much can you honour anybody who's ever cared for you? Now, we all want to be loved. We all want to be loved in a particularly perfect way, you know. We want wine and chocolates and roses, you know, when we're having a bad day. It's complete BS. It doesn't exist. But who is it in your life who is your own best friend? You know, what would be your best friend's advice to you when you're having a bad day? Maybe they will just listen to you. Maybe they would just put a hand on your shoulder. Maybe they'd say, well, look, when you're feeling like this, you know, maybe go to your go-to place. I know many of us are housebound at the moment, but you can meditate. You can close your eyes and visualise that you may be in the lakes, or for me, when I was in Lancashire, I used to love walking by the canal at Rufford, by the willow trees, and the amount of kingfishers I used to see there was unbelievable. And whenever I had a melting moment, I'd walk by the canal and just say a quiet prayer. Please, can I just have a sign that things are going to be okay? And invariably, I'd see a kingfisher. Or when I've had melting moments, other moments in time, I've asked for a sign and suddenly there's a lot of white feathers around me, or maybe, and there has been, triple rainbows. So, you know, what is it that you do to get yourself out of a bad day? Because we're all in this together now, rich, poor, internationally. We're all in it. But what is it that you can do to help yourself today? To distract yourself when you're getting frustrated, when you're procrastinating. It is your mind control that's going to help you through this. It is your self-discipline. It is your determination. So, you know, get the funny videos out. Get the funny films out. I love the Carry On films. I know they're old. I know some of them are in black and white. Still funny. Charlie Chaplin. You know, be careful what goes on your radar. And for those of you that have children, I know some of you are struggling with the homeschooling. Take time to watch your children. Take time to look at their creative aspects. Take time to encourage them to read a book or even make up a story. I listened to David Williams yesterday when he was reading the children's book. I have no children here, you know. I didn't have my granddaughters on WhatsApp or FaceTime listening with me. But what I was doing was allowing my inner child, and believe you me, she's there. She's as crazy as ever, which is wonderful. I even bought some balloons the other day, and I watched children blow bubbles out of one of the balcony windows from here. So, you know, think of things that you can do. Many of you are being creative with the children. I know there's a beautiful idea of painting a rainbow and putting it in the window of your home so that if anybody passes, they can see the rainbow. Maybe get some glitter. Many of you have got gardens. I always remember when I had a walk up Rivington with my dear friend Julie a few years ago, there was a beautiful tree and it was full of CDs and it was full of ribbons and, you know, like the bells on a Christmas tree and the glitter. And this tree was just decorated and you could really feel the depth of love in that tree that had been put in that tree. Sometimes we have a prayer tree. But just think about how you can put more love into your life and just think about what love means to you. So think about how you can feed your soul. For me, we feed the soul with love and appreciation. I'm sure you may well have your own thoughts on that. But just think of a time when you've been appreciated, maybe by a manager at work, maybe when you've had appreciation for that friend who's reached out to you. Maybe when someone's told you that they really, really, genuinely appreciate you. And think about when you've appreciated yourself, when you've been proud of yourself for achieving something. Maybe you've made a wonderful meal, maybe, my mum does needlework and tapestry and embroidery, and she makes some wonderful things. And it's about being able to say, you know what, yeah, I did that. Not in an egocentric way, not in an overconfident way, in a genuine way. We're not taught any of this nonsense in the kind of conventional schooling system. You know, the stiff British upper lip, oh darling, we don't deal with that. It's completely patriarchal. We need to find something that is more heart-centered, more loving, more kind, more patient. So think about how you can be more patient with yourself, because everything, I promise you, starts with you. It doesn't work outside of you. Everything that you have created in your life is your responsibility. Many of you have read Zero Limits, the book by Dr. Joe Vitale and Dr. Hugh Lynn. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname. Gary Plunkett, God bless him, used to be able to pronounce it wonderfully, and I never got my teeth around that one. But Zero Limits is a multi-million best-selling book. It's all about everything that we create is our own responsibility. And I'll repeat that again. Everything that we create around us is our own responsibility. So do we choose to take personal responsibility, or do we get in the blame game? He did that, she did that, Do we keep blaming ourselves for different things? Excuse me. It's time to move forward. Oh, hi, Guyan. This is a very dear friend of mine from Bali. So think about personal responsibility for yourself. Think about taking personal responsibility for yourself. Think about how many times you blame yourself. It's time to move on through all that. This is not going to help us in this time. We need to go back to basics. When that baby is born, it's full of love, it's full of peace, it's full of joy. A child will laugh how many more times than us? I know Wayan kept me laughing in Bali. Wayan was a real lifeline for the sanity that I needed when I was on my own in Semanpan. So I want you to think about how you can feed your soul today. Some people pray. I'm not going to go off on a religious slant, because many of you know I don't agree with a religion. I just feel that it's very personal to each of us, and it's more about spirituality. Spirituality is just about soulfulness. And soulfulness is about acceptance. Acceptance of ourselves for all things. The good, the bad and the indifferent about all of us. Whether we're fat, thin, English, white, half-tanned, half-caste, black. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. But think about how much love you put into your life. Think about how much attention you pay to each and every day. I have a very, very, very dear friend, and I love her very, very much. And she's a real wise woman. And, she was saying the dog gets more love than I do. And she said, at the end of the day, where have I put my attention? She recognises that she's not put her attention in her family, and she's making amends to do that. And never, ever, ever think it's too late, because we can be 90 years old, it's not too late. We can find love at 90, we can find love at 70, but we need to find it in here. If you're on a mission to blame someone for not loving you, well, how much do you love yourself? And how can you make that more? If you loved yourself enough, would you smoke 20 cigarettes a day, 50 cigarettes a day, 100 cigarettes a day? If you loved yourself enough, would you down 10 pints? If you loved yourself enough, would you eat more healthy and drink more healthy and exercise more healthy? And maybe there's a fear there. Maybe you're frightened that if you love yourself too much, you're going to become arrogant. No, you're not. Not if it's genuine love. Not if it's unconditional love, free of expectations, attachments, and commitments. So, I think you've got your homework for today. Draw the pie chart, split it into 3. Where are you balanced? Where are you more balanced? Body, mind, and soul. Where are you the least balanced? What can you do to find that balance? Think about the love in your life. Do a brainstorm. I love doing brainstorms. Whether you do an A4 sheet with love in the middle and then do a spider web from there. You know, what does love mean to you? Does it mean the roses, the chocolate, somebody telling you that they love you all day long? Or does it mean that it's someone there offering you a helping hand, a random act of kindness, somebody who would genuinely help you out? I want you to think about how much love that you have to give. Maybe draw the heart shape like the kind of Valentine's Day heart. Cut it in half so it's 50-50 on each side. Everything is about balance. When we look at the ancient Egyptians in the hieroglyphs, you know, they used to draw the scales, the weighing scales of Libra on the walls. And they would have the feather on one side of the weighing scales and the heart of a nut on the other side. How heavy is your heart? How light is your heart? And how can you make it lighter? This is not about doing the guilt, the blame, all the crap that we put ourselves through. We're all capable of doing that to ourselves far too much. It's not about that. It's about you genuinely looking at how much love you have. I know so many of you love your children. But what about loving yourself? What about finding that unconditional love for yourself? What about putting behind, oh, he did that, she did that, all them years ago, putting it behind you and just saying, well, you know what, I love you. Even though you get on my nerves, for goodness sake, I know I get on people's nerves. My sons will say, Mum, you get on my nerves, that's okay. My daughter says you get on my nerves, yeah, okay. I don't do it deliberately, but I do it. My granddaughters call me silly grandma, you know. So it's about finding that love. Where is your genuine love? You know, think about love. When I was in Ahmed in Bali, there was a beautiful restaurant that I was recommended, and the food was absolutely out of this world. Sometimes the way it was served on the plate, it was like a work of art, and you just didn't even want to eat it. You could just sit and look at it, and just, even if you were starving, it was like, wow, this is just so beautiful. But it wasn't love that was put into that food. It was absolute compassion. It was absolute wonder. It was absolute appreciation. Whatever that food was. The salad was beautiful. The sweet potato fries were beautiful. All the relatives were amazing. The smoothie drinks, the dragon fruit juice. Everything that came out of that kitchen was full of love. How much love do you put in your food? Because when you eat, that's going to go right through your body's system. So maybe that's the thought for today. That you're going to put love into everything that you do. You're going to put thoughtfulness and mindfulness. This is where meditation, mindfulness. Take control of your own mind. Open your heart. Now, some of you may or may not disagree with this, but from my understanding and my own personal experience, the heart has 12 petals. And they will open with compassion, love, forgiveness, many, many, many things. And to me, every one of those petals might mean something. Loving ourselves, loving others, forgiveness, compassion, radical acceptance, peace, trust. How many of you genuinely trust your own intuition? How many of you genuinely trust your own gut feelings? And how many of you listen? You might get the intuition, but you might choose to ignore it. That's often how we learn. We ignore it one day and think, I'm not going to do that again. So never, ever, ever think that failing is, something to berate yourself about. It's the learning. What is it that you're learning? What is it that you want to learn from that? Do you want to learn, or do you want to carry on carrying on? Because I played a role for many years, carrying on, making the same old mistakes, banging into the goldfish bowl. The water was getting more and more stagnant until I'd stayed in that horrible place long enough and I decided to change my life. So what is it that you're banging your head against a brick wall for? Where is your water in your goldfish bowl going stagnant? Where is your life stagnant? Move the physical body. Do you need to drink more water? How can you feed the soul? How can you feed the mind with something that you actually want to do? Reading a wonderful book, reading a funny book, writing a book, writing the poetry. So, have a think. I will put a list of recommended reading books on a separate post after this one. Good morning to all of you. I can see that a few of you have only just joined, and I'm afraid I'm going to call it a day in a minute, and I will do a meditation later this evening. If any of you have any healing requests, you can put those on there, and we'll do a healing for Mother Earth and whatever else I intuit later. So thank you all for being with me. I hope this has helped. So just to repeat again, for the homework, just draw the circle, cut it into 3. Be aware of where you're balanced, body, mind and spirit. Put your percentages honestly at the side. If you're 33.333% for all of them, well done you. Absolutely well done you. And if you're not, that's okay, because like the rest of us, you're a work in progress. Write at the side what you can do to change that. And if you don't want to, well, don't. We'll let the ego mind carry on. It's okay. It's all right. It doesn't matter. Fall off the bike, you get back on again. If you haven't started a journal, perhaps, maybe now is the time to do it. Maybe write down 10 things that you appreciate about yourself. Write down 10 things that you appreciate about your best friend. Write down 10 things that you really miss at the moment. I miss being able to go out for a meal with friends or a hot chocolate or something like that. But my goodness, I'll tell you what, I'll really appreciate it when that time comes again. I miss my friends in France or the border. I miss my family and dear, dear friends in England. So where are you making the scientists say we make about 70,000 decisions every day. I brushed my teeth this morning, I had a shower this morning. If I don't, there's consequences. I'm going to have green teeth, bad breath, and I'm going to smell. And your mind is exactly the same. You keep letting it take over, and it's going to be a smelly thing in there, And it may well come leaking out of your ears as well, but that's up to you. So where can you become a better person today? What aspects of your life can you become a better aspect of you just for today? And today is all we have, just be in the present. This is what all the spiritual teachers say when we say be in the present moment. Many of us can go racing up to, oh my God, how long are we going to be in quarantine, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. None of us know at the moment, but we do know it's going to finish. We're not going to be in quarantine forever. So what is it that you want to do when you come out of quarantine? By appreciating the now, you'll appreciate the future a lot more. By understanding yourself now and finding peace. And the whole point of doing what I'm asking you to do now, but it's your choice. Everything is a choice. Find your inner peace. Find your own peace. And when you find your own peace, then you'll find peace in everyone else. As you learn to accept yourself, you're going to learn to accept everybody else. The more light that you have, and the more that your chakras will get cleaned through these exercises, and these are very simple ones, the more light you'll shine to everyone around you. And if you fall off the bike, get back on. Take time out. Go and tap all the way around the body, around the arms, around the head, around the kidneys. Make sure you drink plenty when you're in this place, because water will upgrade the DNA. Your DNA is coded with all your old habits, all your conditioned mindsets. So think about what you want to do to change your mindset. If you don't want to and you're perfectly happy with who you are, well, absolute congratulations. I'm a work in progress. I do try and be mindful as much as I can be every single day. It doesn't mean I am. It doesn't mean that the ego mind doesn't get the better of me some days. I just admit that I am human and I am imperfect. But you are all perfect in your own way. So I will say again to all of you, have a wonderful day. Whatever you choose to be for your affirmation, if I get some wisdom and some intuition, I may well put some affirmations in a post after this. If any of you have any insights, please feel free to share them. I will list a book of recommended reading I'm assuming we can still get books on Amazon because the delivery men is still out there and the post is still out there. I'm not sure because I don't speak French, I don't watch the news, so but I'm sure the post is still out there. But many of these books are online anyway on Kindle, and once again, I know I don't like using online things. I would rather have the feel of a book. Sometimes we have to be adaptable, and at the moment this is what all this is about. But by knowing yourself more, you will become more adaptable, I promise you. By being more patient with yourself, you're going to have more patience with your children, more patience with your family, more patience with your loved ones. So think about how you can practice patience, forgiveness, loving kindness, acts of random kindness. What can you do for yourself today to show yourself just one act of random kindness? So one of the things is a huggle, as I said yesterday. Left hand on right shoulder, right hand on left shoulder. Give yourself a huggle. Give yourself a pat on the back. So I wish you all the best, and I will hopefully come up with some more exercises, some more TLC for you for tomorrow, and be patient with yourself. Just like you would be with a child who's learning to walk, who keeps bumping the head, bumping the legs, a child who's learning to crawl, a child who's learning to sit up. Just be aware of how much patience you would have with them. Why is it we expect ourselves to be? Just do it. Come on, it's time to get real. It's time to get patient. It's time to be persistent. It's time to be committed. So I wish you all the best in the world. Try and find the joy in today, whether you're indoors, whether many of you can get outdoors. I know my nephews and nieces yesterday were nearly falling in the pond with a frog spawn. But there's joy in that. There's joy in children getting muddied up and having a wash and having to have a bath after. But look at everything as if it's a new world today. Look at everything through the eyes of the child. And look at the appreciation. And just sit quietly and think about all the things you appreciate. If you've got rice in the cupboard, where did it come from? Watching the people in Bali harvest the rice. Whew, gosh, they worked hard. They were absolutely shattered at the end of the day. And believe you me, that stimulated some real compassion in me. Think about all the things you appreciate. Think about all the things you appreciate in yourself, all the things you appreciate in your partner. Because if you focus on appreciation, genuine appreciation, there's no BS here. It's not about BS, okay? It's not about the romantic stupidity of love, the chocolates, the wine and the roses. This is about the real stuff. So, find the appreciation for you first. Find the loving kindness for you first. And then you'll start seeing it in everybody else. So I wish you all the best. I will blow a kiss to all of you because I'm a big softie like that. Put a smile on your face, even if you don't feel like putting a smile on your face. I have some friends who've lost their parents recently through old age, none of them through the coronavirus. But this can be a sad, challenging time. But every day we have a choice to put a smile on our face. Every day we have a choice to laugh. Keep your immune systems healthy. That's one way that you can do that. Okay, so have a wonderful day. I do wish you all the best. And if you've got any feedback, if there's anything you want me to cover tomorrow, then just let me know. So, good luck on your journey. Stay safe and keep smiling. And may you have a beautiful, fulfilling, conscious, mindful, peaceful, loving day. Bye. Bye.